Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey with your host, Dave Westcott. The Entrepreneurial Journey is a weekly podcast that streams live every Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on Dave's YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile. Now here's Dave with this week's episode.
Good morning and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm your host, Dave Westcott, and I've got with me co-host Pastor Dave Lundquist and special guest Shane Dougherty, Associate Director of the New Heart Foundation. The New Heart Foundation is an organization helping men and women overcoming life-controlling substance abuse issues. Shane has been in the position for about 4 years now. They have 2 homes, one men's home and one women's home. And the New Heart Foundation supports the New Heart Ministry, which is in 4 churches currently in the Washington area. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and participate in what you're doing here.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah,
it is.
What a blessing. Thank you.
We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. So just to kick this off and set the table, one of the things we believe in at TransBlue, at Enbridge, in our little group of businesses is that giving back to charitable organizations is an amazing thing. It's great for the community. If you're in the community and you're in business, you're helping to make a positive impact on those around you. If you're in business and nobody knows you're there, what's the point in being in business? What's the point? You can't help people. You can't change lives. We're about changing lives. We're about
changing the world, man.
Changing the world.
Yeah.
That's our mission. And the New Heart Place, the New Heart Foundation, helps men and women who have come from substance abuse, drug abuse, pornography, weight loss, whatever they might have been going through, substance abuse issues, homeless. I know there's an impact on the homeless side of things. So, I think everybody at one time or another has needed help. We've all needed a helping hand. And I think the men and women who come to New Heart are in need of help.
Absolutely.
And everybody in a pew, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Buddhist, whether you're a Catholic, whether you're a Mormon, you all know somebody who is struggling with alcoholism, with drug addiction. All of those things are huge in our society. And so helping those who need that help up, I think the pandemic for drugs and alcohol is monstrous, especially with the fentanyl and all that sort of thing going on.
Yes.
So we're big into supporting this. Share with us about New Heart Place, New Heart Foundation, the New Heart Ministries. Share with our audience about what that means and what you guys do, and maybe a story about a life that's been changed.
Absolutely. Thank you. What I would say first is that the story involves a man in his 40s, and he had been suffering from addictions for about 30 years. He began drinking, smoking marijuana at the age of 12.
Wow.
At 12 years old, he was the oldest child out of 3, but Dad had left when he was 5, and so he basically took over. For the father figure, if you will, for the household, not really realizing how to address those changes and those transitions. He began using marijuana and alcohol, was introduced to those, and it gave him a sense of peace, because he didn't really feel like he fit in anywhere else. And when he drank or when he smoked, all of a sudden he felt relaxed enough to be able to have connection with other people. And eventually that turned into addiction. At that point, he was He dropped out of high school in his freshman year because of drugs and alcohol. Went to work full time and was, basically partying every weekend. He would go and drink and drug every weekend, and that lasted for a period of time. Went into treatment his first time at the age of 17, wow. and then throughout his life, had a modicum of sobriety. So clean and sober was the mantra that was at that point. Through that entry into the treatment process, but then that treatment or that sobriety only lasted a period of a short time, and he would always go back to the way he always resolved his issues was drugs and alcohol. He found that was the easiest way to cope with whatever his problems were at that time. So what he did is he ended up going into a second treatment, thinking that, okay, if I can just get it right this time, if I can just go through treatment this time will be the time that I stay clean and sober again, with the intent of getting clean and sober. So after that treatment, again, same kind of a thing, went back out again. This happened 6 different times. 6 different times. He went to a 30-day treatment, a couple of times, 60-day, 90-day, 6-month treatment. And at his last treatment opportunity, he actually was able to put together 2 years of sobriety, going through the various programs and the processes that happened. The problem is that treatment, all as good as it was to be able to identify the chemical things that were going on and what does that do to your brain on drugs and why you shouldn't do drugs and those kinds of things, are all great, but clean and sober was really not the point in this case. What it was is there were some core issues that he needed to address, because without addressing those underneath core issues, he kept going back to what he had always known.
Yeah.
So fast forward 2006, this is December of 2006. He's at home. He's at home, been up for a week on meth. He had said to himself, there are some things that I'll never do. And in addiction, you always get to the next thing that you'll never do. So he said to himself he would never inject drugs, and he did that. He started to inject drugs, and he was up for a week straight on methamphetamine. And early in the morning, one day at the end of that week, his uncle comes knocking at his door. I need to talk to you. Now, his uncle was a father figure for him in the absence of his father. He's the one that taught him how to use a shovel. I don't know if you know, there's a right way to use a shovel. He got his PhD, post-hole digger, if you will, from learning how to work with his uncle, and all the while his uncle was speaking to him life throughout those years, teaching him, work ethic, processing that. But yet this guy just kept going back to the old way of dealing with his problems. So fast forward, knocking on the door. Hey, I just want to talk to you. He goes, yeah. He says, no, I don't want to talk to you. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I don't want you to see me this way. If you see me this way, you're not going to want to be in relationship with me. And he said, no, you don't understand. I just want you to come to work with me. I said, work? He said, work? I can't. How can I work? He says that, I can't even move my lips, let alone work. And so, but he said, okay, I'll come to work with you. And his uncle told him, he said, look, I don't necessarily want you to work. I just want you to sit in the truck. I will pay you to sit in the truck with me while I talk to you.
Wow.
And so this guy that I'm referring to went and worked with his uncle, went to work with his uncle, sat in the truck, and had the door open while he was pouring some concrete driveway. And as he was pouring this concrete driveway, the gentleman was looking out, and he was speaking life, saying, Jesus loves you. God has a plan for your life. This is not the end. These are things that will change. This is just the beginning for you. God has a plan for your life. And he said, I wanted to bring to your attention, you know, there's this place that just opened up in 2006. So this was December of 2006. Back in June, April, May, June of 2006, this place just opened up. It's called New Heart Place. New Heart Place. And he said, I want you to go talk to the pastor about that. I said, and you know, this gentleman said, well, you know, he's done treatment. He knows treatment. It's not about treatment. But he also had said to God, he said, you know, God, either kill me or make me well, because I can't do this anymore. And so what he did is he ended up going to talk with Pastor Ron at the time, and Pastor Gary McGibbon, who was the associate, or who was the director of New Heart Place. This is a discipleship home for men. So those suffering under life-controlling issues, addictions, life-controlling issues, New Heart Place was an opportunity, not treatment, but it was a school to learn how to be an authentic disciple of Jesus. And as he went in and he came in and he told his story to Pastor Ron, he said, you know, I've done treatment before. What's different about this? And he goes, no, this isn't treatment. In fact, you've done treatment 6 different times. So before you're accepted into the school, I need you to prove it. And what he did is there's this ministry called New Heart Monday night at this church, Westgate Chapel. New Heart Monday night. Now this ministry model, which is what we're talking about today, includes a place where people come and gather. People come that look like me, smell like me, talk like me, and they come through a side door experience, not some back door experience in the church, but a side door experience where these folks like myself could come in, not the full-on light of the sanctuary where, oh no, I'm going to burn up if I come in here, but a side door experience where he could experience the love of God. So there was a time of food, a time of fellowship. I could, you know, he was talking about how he was learning how to belong in this experience, because he'd been isolated for so long. So, and then through that process of worship and the word, and then into a core group, a conversational group where he could be transparent with somebody else without fear of condemnation. That began to be a bridge for him from that group into the body of Christ. So he went in, he said, okay, so Pastor Ron said, you come here for a month, show up, and you stay off drugs, and we'll talk about accepting you. Well, he did it. He made it, got into New Heart Place. The first 30 days at New Heart Place, he says, I got this. This is great. I know what it feels like. 30 days, I'm healed. I don't need this anymore. And God told him, no, you remember you went in treatment for 30 days and look what happened. 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, same kind of thing experienced in that experience. And it wasn't until, you know, and Dave, just talking with you about some of your experience about how God's love broke through for you. This was his experience, showing up every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at Westgate from this home with a group of guys coming down, experiencing the love of God. It was about 6-8 months into it, this guy had God's love break through to him. He suddenly now was not only be able to receive love, but he could give love in a way that he never thought possible. People, core group at this church, you know, hey, good to see you. God bless you. Keep going. It's going to get better. Keep going. We're so proud of you. The encouragement, the love from this body of this new family.
Yeah.
So then graduation came, and he graduated from this. And what he found was, he said, you know, clean and sober was not the point. Clean and sober, finally, I understand, is just a byproduct of my relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to. This person that I'm talking about was me. I was the first graduate from that New Heart Place. And as I began to, so it was 2008, February of 2008 when I graduated. Yeah. So I was there for the entire year. from there, I was asked to participate in the men's issues group. So I would begin. So again, there's 4 groups in this New Heart ministry model that happens on Monday nights at Westgate Chapel. And the 4 groups: men's issues, women's issues, chemical dependency, families of the addicted. I was in the chemical dependency. And as I grew and matured, I moved into the men's issues group, and then I began to lead, to facilitate that men's issues group. So God had called me and raised me up to begin to lead. And I believe that was, in that case, an opportunity to build some of those fences around me as well from those slippery slopes, because now I was accountable to somebody.
Sure.
And so years down the road, suddenly the Lord restored relationship. I was divorced. I had left a family, my daughter, at the age of 5, and broke relationship with her. God, through all of this, has restored relationship with her.
Good.
He's brought me a new, beautiful wife that loves the Lord and keeps me moving in that right direction as well. I have three children. I have 6 grandchildren.
Wow.
6 grandchildren, and
more than
one
I
on
do.
the way. One on the way.
Awesome.
So God has really changed my life. And so just about 4 years ago, Pastor Ron. So my business, I've been in sales most of my life. And so Pastor Ron comes and says, Shane, I'd really like you to consider working with me regarding the foundation. I said, well, foundation? Because I didn't know anything about the foundation at the time. And he says, yeah, the foundation was built, it began in 2010. It's a separate 501c3, built and began in 2010 with a vision to reach and disciple the broken and hurting. And the way the foundation does that is by resourcing local leaders and churches, pastors and leaders for their intentional ministry to the broken and hurting.
Sure.
And so this ministry now, so what I get to do is I get to take this model of ministry happening on a Monday night at Westgate Chapel, and I get to introduce this model to other pastors and other leaders throughout. And they get to be that source of healing and transformation. So healing and recovery.
Yeah.
In each and every one of those communities as well. So God is doing just a magnificent thing through all of that. And I don't know, hopefully I'm giving you guys enough time to be able to.
No, that's great. How many churches are you guys in now?
Right now, including Westgate Chapel, we're in 4.
Okay.
So
all in this area?
in the greater in the state of Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. So Living Hope Community out in Spokane, Philadelphia Church down in Ballard, Park Ridge Community in Bothell, and of course Westgate Chapel in Edmonds.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Huh?
That's awesome. I think what you share is this, this just filling. Like, I think people are always looking for, filling that hole, or the next experience or the next thing. And I heard a guy share that he was one of the masters of the universe. I was at Harvard Business School, and he was giving the ending speech, and he was telling about his life, and he was one of the masters of the universe, and he was on the cover of I can't remember, Forbes magazine or something, and he's on there with Steve Jobs, and he's on there with Bill Gates, and he's on there with whoever, 5 other people or something, and these are the masters of the universe. And he goes on, and he goes to tell that after being on that magazine cover of Masters of the Universe, he shares how his life fell apart, and how everybody, and his wife left, and his dad died, and his sister died, and he's all alone. He's walking through Boston, and he's loving taking pictures, and he falls down, and his camera falls into the water, and it's gone, and every single thing was stripped from him down to absolutely nothing. And you hear that story because it's one of the things that's really interesting, is that always resonates with me. Even if you're a master of the universe, so called, you're still searching. And I'm a part of EO Entrepreneurs Organization, and I'm in a group, and I'm just going to share some statistics that were given. And we were talking about wellness and mental health and, that sort of thing. And one of the statistics that was shared was, how much money is enough money to live the life that will make you happy, that you'll be happy forever. And they interviewed people making $75,000 a year, and they said, okay, well, if I can make 100, I'd be happy. And they've interviewed people doing 100, and they said, if I can do 150, I'd be happy. And the people making 150 said, well, if I can make 600, I'd be happy. And then it jumped way up to 2 million. And the people who were doing 2 million in annual revenue said, it's just not enough. I need to make 6 million.
Wow.
And they interviewed the people with 6 million. And the people who were making $6 million a year, they were just not happy. Weren't happy with their life. And they said, what would make me happy, the perfect dollar amount is 10 million a year. And that's where it stopped. They couldn't interview past that level with any sort of success. And you think about what 100,000, a million, you think about the lifestyle that you can live with $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything you want. I don't know that there's a big difference between 1 and 10. You know what I mean? Like, you can fly any private jet you want. You can buy whatever you want. You can live, like, everything is at your fingertips. And I compare those two things, and then I listen to people all the time, and they're talking about, my next experience. I want to go climb this mountain. I want to go run this race. I want to go, eat at this place. I want to buy this. I want this next car. Once I get this car, I'll be happy. Once I get this house. You know what? I'll tell you that none of those things make you happy. None of those things deliver happiness. As soon as you get it, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then it wears off. It wears off really fast. And then the stress of owning it comes on. And that's almost worse. And then the fact of the matter is that you're always searching for that next thing. You're always searching for that next thing. You're always searching for that next thing. And it's the same thing in recovery. The first time you take that first shot of meth, or you take that first hit, you're always trying to get back to where you were before.
That's right.
Right? You're always trying to get back to that first hit, because the first was the best, right? It was the one that rocked your world. So it doesn't matter if you're an executive and you're buying things, or you're having millions of dollars, or you're the guy on the street. For the grace of God, there go I. We're always one step away. But I think the true happiness, the true life experience is in the Lord. And I don't think any other religion does that. I don't think if you're Buddhist, I don't think if you're Muslim, I don't think it. You don't have that relationship with God. That's the difference, is you have a personal relationship with God. And when you have that personal relationship with God, I love what you said, the byproduct. The byproduct of my relationship with Jesus was sobriety.
Yes.
Right? The byproduct of my relationship with Jesus was wanting to change the world. My byproduct was treating my wife better. My wife was treating my kids better. I'm not saying I treated them bad, but but I think that's the thing that we're looking for. And I was in a group of guys, and they were saying, what's your next big thing? And I thought about that for a long time, and I put down nothing. And that's my honest answer. Nothing. Well, don't you want to go to Mexico or Paris or, sure, but I don't need to. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy right here. So, like, in the Lord, you're completely satisfied. It doesn't mean every day is perfect. It doesn't mean you're going to have up and downs. It doesn't mean you're not going to question and say, Lord, where are you? Or, Lord, why didn't you save my cousin's life from cancer? Because those things are going to happen. It's a fallen world. But it's about your faith, and it's about what you believe. And every step of the way, the Lord God, Jesus, is going to deliver. And it's not about where you travel, and it's not about the experiences that you have. It's not about jumping off the mountain or, shooting the line, whatever it is. It's about a personal relationship with Jesus. And when we were talking earlier, You said, man, how do you do some of these things, or how do you put them together, stress wise? And I'll tell you that for me, the biggest thing is the way I start my day. And I believe the Lord calls us to give us his first, the best. He wants the first of our finances, right? So be a tither. I think that's really important. Give of your finances, and then give abundantly of your finances, because that releases the grip on the money. That releases the grip on your heart.
Yeah.
And then, I believe, give your kids to the Lord. He wants them, give them to him. Dedicate them to him. But then the best of me, the time that I'm the sharpest, the time that you said you're a sales guy, the time that I'm going to close the most deals, the time that I'm going to be most on point is in the morning. I'm so sharp in the morning. We all are. We're rested, we're refreshed. So give the morning to the Lord. And how do we do that? Prayer, meditation, devotional, reading the word, and start that there, because then that changes your entire outlook. And I'll tell you what, there is some days I wake up and I think to myself, I want to quit my business. I hate my job. I hate being alive. I think that thing, even to this day. I will think those things in my head, and I'll be in the shower and I'll be thinking those things, and I'll think, okay, you know what? Lord, I give this to you. Lord, I put this at your feet. Take this burden. It's still there.
Yeah.
Now what do I got to do? Now the next step is I got to read the word. And I read the word, and there's always something in there that says to me,
It's good.
I've got you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay. And then I go into my devotional, and I'm going to be okay. And then what I do is I grab my devotional and I write out my feelings. And about halfway through, like in the beginning, I can be kind of stressed out, but right about the middle, thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
I love you, Jesus.
So
you are
good.
the King of Kings. And I just start, and that's where I end.
Yeah.
And then when I'm done, I'm like, all right, today's going to be absolutely fantastic or whatever. Because you know what? I can have a bad moment.
Yeah.
I can have a bad hour, but I'm not going to have a bad day
That's right.
because I got the remote control.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what I love about the Lord. That's the experience. That's the game
So good, Dave.
changer that I believe in, because it doesn't matter how much success you have.
Yeah.
Success, like the world looks at success as a good thing, it's actually one of the worst things in the world, because it's more houses, it's more bills, it's more cars, it's
It's a
more
false
people.
god.
And it will crush you.
It's a false god.
It is.
It is.
It is.
You're talking, and you're the preacher this morning, and I love that. It all boils down, to that silly. I know it's a cliche. It's even a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
But no God, no peace. No God, no peace.
Yes.
No God, no peace.
Yes,
In other words,
K-N-O-W.
K-N-O-W.
Yes.
If you know God, that real where you have that time, you really know that deep down peace. But if you don't have God, if there's no God in your life, man, there's no peace, and you end up running after the drugs. You end up running after the crutches. That new heart, unfortunately, and that's such a so many people in our world. I think if I have my stats right, the broken and the hurting, the drugs is the fastest growing segment of dysfunction in our society, isn't it?
So true.
It's so
Fentanyl, like you were saying, has just been causing so many deaths. People just dying on the streets. Just phenomenal amount of broken. And Pastor Ron recently said that really is our largest unreached group.
Yeah.
Is these broken and hurting, these addicted.
Yeah.
And that's, I know in my own experience.
Every family.
Yes, every family
'Cause
has
we're
touched
searching.
it some kind.
People are searching.
Yeah.
We're searching, and you know what? It's and you know what? Relationships are going to let you down.
Yeah.
I tell my wife, I've told her this since we met 20 years ago. Been married 10. I always tell her, I'm going to fail you. I'm going to let you down. I am not going to be that person in your life. I can't do it. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to let my kids down. But I say, you know what? You know who's not going to let you down is the Lord. And I say, what we have to do is we have to be so strong, separate, that we can live fine without one another. But when we come together, it's like a superpower because we're connected. We don't need each other, but we need each other. You know, kind of like the know Jesus. You know, but we need to be able to live strong on our own. Like if you're there, that's amazing. Let's have an amazing time. But I'm not so codependent on you. I'm not calling where you at, what's going on. I'm not controlling because it's in the Lord. Yeah. It's in the Lord. Your hope is in the Lord. Yeah. And I think that's the greatest thing about marriage is my hope is in the Lord. When I have a bad thing with my wife or my kids, which is very rare, but you know what? I don't go to her and say, man, what's going on? How are you feeling? Oh, what, you know what I do? I just go to Lord, I just put this in your hands. God, I just give this to you. Help me to work this out. Give me the words to say. Let's go there first. When I have a big miss in business, and I have them, you know what? It's not like, I mean, I can get down, but God, I just put this in your hands to help me to work through this. Help me to work this out. I know it seems like all odds are against us. I know that I failed here, Lord. I'm sorry I failed, but I put this in your hands. And I'll tell you that I end it with, and I'm grateful that this happened. Lord, thank you for losing that contract. Lord, thank you for that lawsuit that came against me. Lord, thank you for that negative review those people wrote. Lord, I want to do better. Lord, I want to glorify your name. And I'll tell you that, have you ever felt the stress that rolls into your shoulders and it's almost it burns and it's just intense and you're sick in your stomach and you can't get it out of your head? Yeah. And you can walk around with that. And that's like walking around with 500-pound gorilla on your back. Yeah. But I'll tell you this, the moment you give it to the Lord and then you say you're grateful for it, I have not found any alcohol, any drug, any cigarette, any marijuana that relieves that pressure. You might take that hit and it might put you in a different world for 30 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes. But I'll tell you this, the minute that I give that to the Lord, it's actually gone. It's actually really
because
gone.
You're connected with eternity, man. You're connected with,
it's
with
so
heaven.
Powerful.
It's powerful.
It's real. Powerful.
But,
it's real.
God promised that. He said, I will never leave you or forsake you. You know what? He will be with you to the very end of that, what the Bible says, the age. Yeah. Whatever your age is, he will be with you. And you know what? Man, when you're walking with God, what else matters? What else matters? I mean, because
nothing else matters.
His peace passes all understanding.
I always feel like, if things get bad enough, I can go live with my parents. Like I feel like
you can come live with me too.
Right? There you go.
I have an extra room.
There you go. You got an extra room. But it's like this piece of, gosh, man, if anything goes wrong, my parents will take care of me. My parents are there. My parents love me. I don't know. Maybe that's a silly thing to say, but it's like that with God, where it's like I give it to him. And even if it means my business fails, even if it means I fall apart, even if it means I'm a failure or I'm humiliated in the eyes of the world, God's got me.
Yeah. He'll receive you. He'll receive you.
Is okay.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of giving it to the Lord.
See?
Yeah.
That's what you said. You said comfort. And that's really what's come to me is those drugs and alcohol in those many years were all comfort mechanisms, trying to find comfort. And there was only temporary comfort that was given. And each time I came back after that temporary comfort ended, I mean, it was a very hard taskmaster is that addiction.
It'll rock you.
But until I found my comfort in Jesus, that's really, because that is, dare I say, an eternal resource that I can draw from, that doesn't dwindle and doesn't demand more and more from me, but rather is just available anytime.
Yeah. Shane, New Heart Place, it's growing, it's strong, it's changed the lives of so many. Just give us a real synopsis of the ministry, of how many lives it's changed, of where your vision is. Just, I think we gotta, don't don't want to miss your opportunity to be able
Thank you
to
so much.
share New Heart.
So New Heart Place began, like I say, back in 2006 with the men's discipleship home as a ministry of Westgate Chapel, and this ministry has seen. We can in the house handle up to 12 men at a time. It's a 12 to 18 month process. And during this process, again, these brothers are experiencing what it means to live with each other out of isolation. It's basically like a laboratory where I can, as a participant, can experience all the ups and downs in a safe environment without having to go and pick up those old comfort mechanisms. Yeah. And I'm able to see through the Word of God, through relationship, through partnership with the body of Christ.
It's a discipleship home,
It's a discipleship home.
Yeah.
And so that's been very successful. Like I said, I was a first graduate. We've had over the years probably 16, 17 graduates over the years since it began in 2006. And so through these graduates along the way, actually there's more than that now that I think about it. I think we had that in the first couple of years actually. Yeah. But we've been so successful with the life transformation that's happened through this school, discipleship school, if you will, that we've now opened up a women's home, because the women's home, the women need this just as much as men, if not more. And so there's a new women's home that's opened up a few miles just from the men's home, and again. We've got 2 women in there now that are going through the 12 to 18 month process. And we are currently, the doors are open. We're planning an open house to be able to bring the awareness, because that's really the key, is making people aware of it. I don't understand why they're not knocking at the doors. I mean, if in that situation, if I was still back out in the streets, if I had a place where I could go and be safe, and be fed, and learn what it means to be in the love of God, and get into a relationship and have a life transformation experience, why aren't people knocking the doors down in this? And that's what we want, is we want to be able to open it up to everywhere and to everyone. Good. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. We've got to bring this thing in for a landing. I think what is the biggest need that you have in New Heart?
Well, we are currently looking for a way to publish curriculum, the curriculum that we have. I think is the biggest need at this point, is to publish the curriculum. We have a curriculum called 6 Big Truths, and these 6 big truths are not 12 steps to clean and sober, but rather foundational pieces along the journey. So the first big truth is to choose. We have to choose to surrender. We have to choose to be healed. We have to choose to be transformed. So the first big truth is choose. And this curriculum through these four core groups are expressed in a language that speaks to that people group, whether you're a man, a woman, a family member, or somebody who's, experiencing chemical dependency. So the first big truth is choose. The next big truth is surrender. So you've got to surrender, like you were talking about, Dave, surrendering your own life, your experience, all of your past, all of your future, surrendering those pieces to God in a way that allows Him to come in and change some stuff for you. So it's first big truth, choose, and then surrender. And then it's about knowing, know God, know peace, right? So KNOW, knowing God, knowing who we are in Christ, and then also knowing who others are in relationship to us. Good. So choose, surrender, know. And then the next one is love. There's a real kind of love. It's not a selfish love. Oh, I've got the biggest boat. I've got the biggest yacht. I've got the biggest whatever. It's not about a love of self. I'm only going to love you if you love me the way I want you to love me. No, there's a right way to love. Yeah. So love. And then the next one is guard. We got to learn how to guard our hearts and make sure that we're not allowing those weeds to get back into that fertile soil that we've just worked on through this process. So guarding our hearts. And then finally, number 6 is renew. And renewing that on a regular basis, and coming back and renewing that commitment, and renewing just our appreciation. That's and good. Renewing that gratitude. Good. So what we're working at this point is taking this curriculum to the next level. We want to be able to provide that to other churches, we're already doing that through the ministry piece of it, but maybe somebody like, this is kind of maybe a different kind of, when I'm thinking of why can't I think of the name right now? It escapes me. Recovery. Celebrate Recovery. Thank you. When I think of Celebrate Recovery and their process of what they've done, they've created a kit that allows this material to get out to participants, to leaders, these kinds of things. We want to be able to provide that same kind of process. Great. That's that's the biggest thing right now.
Awesome. That's a good thing. Any final thoughts, Pastor Dave?
No, I just want to say thank you, Shane, for just, being faithful and loving, people into the process of being healed. Thank you so much. I think we need men like you, who are flaming testimonies of the goodness of God. So,
thank you so much, Dave. Thank you, Pastor Dave. I appreciate that. By the way, you were instrumental in my transformation process.
No. Tell me.
Yeah, while you were at Westgate there during night.
Thanks.
So thank you for that.
Thanks.
So
you probably hear that a lot.
It's not me. It's whatever God is doing.
You're a blessed man. All right, listen, we're bringing this thing in for a close. We've got the men's home in Snohomish.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the women's home
also in Snohomish.
And this is a place where men can go. It's just men. It's not co-ed. It's just a men's school, if you will.
Right.
Discipleship program to help them find life controlling substance recovery with Christ at the center. This is an amazing organization. One, if you're listening and you need a little support, you need a little life changing, you've got some addiction you're working with, check out New Heart. Check out the New Heart Foundation, the New Heart Place. We'll throw the website up on the screen when this goes live. So check that out. That's a great place. If you're a woman and you're looking for recovery, check out the women's home. On top of that, if you know somebody that needs help, we all know someone that needs help. We all know someone where we can raise their hand and say, gosh, my dad's an alcoholic. My sister's an alcoholic. My brother's addicted to meth. We all know somebody who's struggling with that. Push them to the New Heart Place if you can. Give them a gentle nudge. Help them get there and help them change their life. And also, if you're a businessman, if you're a businesswoman, if you're somebody of wealth and you want to help us change the world, if you want to help us live our mission, we are going to match up to $5,000 to the men's home and $5,000 to the women's home. So a total of $10,000.
Wow.
You have to give that through the Enbridge website.
Yeah, you can text New Heart at 44321, and it'll take you right to the giving site.
Wow.
So just on your phone, if you want to do that, you'll get a quick link. Or like I said, you can go to the Enbridge global website and the donate page, and New Heart is on that, and it'll go to matching.
And match so that generous. So that we can go through that. We're going to run this for 2 weeks. So when you see this go live and you see this on there, we're going to match this for 2 weeks. So share it with your socials.
Yes. If
you're out there and this touches your heart and it resonates with you, and you look at the changed life that I've had, the changed life that Shane has had, if you see that and you want to share that with somebody else, dig deep. Take a moment to give more, and God always blesses those who give, I believe. Yeah. So dig deep. We'll match up to $5,000 for the men's home, $5,000 for the women's home. So dig deep, give as much as you can, and help us support this amazing cause and help us change the world. That's what's really important here, is that we're changing the world, and a changed life changes a life. Yeah. And that's a really, really important thing. If you liked this, give us a share. Give us a like. Leave your comments in the comments box. We're here to change the world. We love this. This is a big part of our entrepreneurial journey. I'm Dave Westcott, your host. Follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere where it's social. I'm hanging out. We'll be back next Tuesday, 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for your time this morning and have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.